gonna lie to you, my friends. My approach to shopping is not sexy nor sassy. It will not get you cheap and fast instant buys. My approach is much slower, but very gratifying. Takes effort, but is much more fun. Higher prices, but higher value. Will definitely take some patience, but in the end, you will be left with a wardrobe that you are proud of and get giddy about styling every single day. This is my slow burn shopping method. So did you know that you actually get more endorphins from the anticipation of an activity or purchase rather than the actual activity or purchase itself? So why would you want to end that so soon? Let's ride that endorphin wave, my friends. All right, so let's get into these steps. So step number 1 is prioritize pillars. If you saw my video last week, my alternative approach to capsule wardrobes, which is the pillar and pop method. Pillars are sort of the foundation to your wardrobe, the key classic pieces. So just classic pieces like fitted jeans, tailored trouser pants, basic t-shirts, button-up shirt, blazers, turtlenecks. I mean, I think you get the point. Once you establish your list of classic pieces that you would like to have in your wardrobe, go through your wardrobe and check off what you have. Whatever is left over that you have not checked off, this is your gap list. So then you can use this gap list as your priority list, and it sort of holds you accountable. It sort of acts as your guiding posts when it comes to shopping. So a good example of this is, as some of you know, if you've been watching the channel, I have been on the hunt for a good pair of black tailored pants. It's been probably a good 2 years, a good 2-year hunt of finding the perfect pair of black pants. And I finally did get the right pair after a lot of trial and error. What I loved about this sort of practice is that when I did go into a store, or if I was browsing or shopping or whatever it may be, I was always looking for that specific thing. And it helped me to kind of like, ignore everything else and have that sort of clarity. There's so much freedom in that discipline. That's sort of what I like about having the hunt and having that long process, and having that sort of mission, is it all is in a way a reward in itself. Like the process is the reward, and it then allows for you really to hold your final purchase to a really high standard, because it has to be enough to make it worth ending that beloved hunt. This next step is not sexy, but I promise you that the next steps after that will be a lot of fun. To have fun without consequences, you gotta have some boundaries. So that brings us to setting a monthly budget. Having a monthly budget sharpens the senses and makes you a lot more intentional, because ultimately being intentional is you taking control back. You're not sort of letting your emotions and whimsies get the better of you. You are taking charge of those emotions and directing them where you see fit. Okay, so as an example, we'll use my monthly budget from before I started this channel. The budget that I have now isn't very comparable because I have to factor in purchases for this channel. And I'm not gonna lie, I would not buy as much as I do now if it wasn't for this channel, tax write-offs, baby. So my budget before I had this channel, no joke, was $50 a month. For some that might seem like a lot, and for some that might seem like a little, but for me, it was plenty. When you shift your mindset on just like a slower pace, as an example, if I wanted a pair of $200 designer denim jeans, that would be, 4 months worth of my budget. So what that ultimately meant is that I could spend 4 months, on the hunt, researching, reviewing, trying on, all of that shenanigans to find the perfect pair. Or maybe it meant that I found the perfect pair or found the inspiring pair that I was super excited about and bought them right away. Then I had to cancel out any shopping for the next 4 months. But usually I was riding that high of the new jeans for a while before I even cared to look for anything new. Sometimes ending the year way below my budget, believe it or not. I still can't believe it. Shocking. So step number 3 is browse it up. Yeah, there's a video that I did on shopping a long time ago, and I actually said to never browse if you want to rid yourself of impulse buys. And I do still think there is some truth to that, obviously, but I think if you need to sort of detox, if you are somebody that's shopping a lot and doing a lot of impulse purchases, I do think, you know, keeping away from the browsing for a while is probably a good idea, is sort of like a detox. But I think once you do that and get yourself in a good mind space, and then set those parameters up, set those boundaries up of the, you know, making a list, setting that intention for your wardrobe, you know, setting the priorities, and then as well as at the budget, which kind of are your safety. You know, it's like having that safety in place before you have fun. Just like if you were going to ride a roller coaster, you would want a harness and a safety bar, right? So, you know, the intention and the priorities and the budget are your safety bar before you go into browsing. And I think with those set, it then again brings it back to, in discipline, there is freedom. So if you have that discipline of the budget and priorities, it then allows you to kind of have that freedom of browsing, because half the fun of shopping is browsing. So again, if you set up those safeties, you can have all the fun of the browsing without the consequences of the like constant impulse purchases, the buyer's remorse, the debt. Again, it's the, you know, idea of this, the anticipation is what gives you the endorphins, is what, you know, gives us that dopamine shot. So if you have all these things set up, you can enjoy those dopamine rushes with the browsing. Another option, if you really want like a good little dopamine, you know, shot to the system, doing the phantom carts. I do this all the time, and I probably piss off a lot of brands and shopping sites because I always, I always put stuff in the cart like as if I was gonna buy it, and then I never do. It is sort of a weird thing, like even though I have no intention of buying it, but like putting it into a cart and then like viewing that cart after I browse, there's something about that just gives you that like, whew. What I personally love about browsing, and why I actually started, you know, browsing, started scrolling through brands and scrolling through different websites, was a lot of for like inspiration and kind of just being, you know, current, trying to kind of see what you know, different brands were doing, and just for that kind of knowledge for my channel. It sort of started out as like professional research, but then I realized, because I had kind of been out of it for so long, that it really was something that I enjoyed doing just for personal use, and just for that personal inspiration, and just something. I just love clothes. Fun to look at clothes if you love clothes. So it was very satisfying to bring that back. Also, not have that temptation to basically have the control over my emotions enough to be able to browse and not, you know, constantly buy or constantly have those impulses, except when it is an inspired buy. Which brings me to step number 4. Step number 4 is inspired buying. What I was speaking about last week in my video, the pillar and pop method. This is speaking to the pops. Pops are ultimately the style, the inspiration, the creativity, the personality that we bring into our wardrobe. So once we kind of establish the pillars, which are the key classic pieces, it then allows for you to have that freedom to bring in more creative, maybe it's more bold pieces, more statement pieces, trendier pieces, very specific pieces, maybe it's custom pieces, whatever it is. It allows then for you to bring those pieces in effortlessly, because you've already got those established classic pieces that go with everything, that go with all style types. So you can ultimately bring anything in and you're good to go. For me, the inspired buys are something you sort of have to be patient for because they're not necessarily something that you can force. And I think I discovered this more as I brought browsing back into my sort of leisure time, was that there would be times that something would come up that just inspired me, that just pulled me in. It was something that I felt was a key that unlocked, options within my wardrobe. So this should be a piece that you absolutely love. There is just no question about it, no second guessing, and you feel like an absolute star in. The thing about it is, even though these are bolder pieces, statement pieces, trendier pieces, they are still supposed to be timeless pieces within your wardrobe, pieces that can run parallel to your classics for years and years to come. And yes, these will likely be the pieces that you may transition out, but the idea is that they are supposed to still be in there for a long-term relationship. It is important to hold everything to a high standard so that you are very selective about the pieces that you are bringing into your wardrobe. So those are the 4 steps to my slow burn shopping. It's sort of like the cliche saying that it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. It's literally the same exact thing. It's not about the purchase, it's about the process of the purchase. That research, that search, that looking at different things, comparing and contrasting. Like, it's clearly, I love clothes and fashion. So I guess it's a good thing that I have a fashion channel. So ultimately, shopping does not need to be a mindless activity that you do just to get something. It can be intentional, super exciting, and deeply rewarding. By taking your time, staying inspired, and investing in the pieces that truly matter, you're then not just building a wardrobe, you're building a story that reflects you. All right, fashion friends, happy shopping. You can shop those options in the comfort of your own home, on your couch, in your pajamas, while eating ice cream and watching Escape to the Country.